Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've recorded meetings and conventions here in Southern California since 1998. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994, and I got sober in a small town called Santa Maria. I moved to Los Angeles when I had 5 years sober and started recording meetings shortly after I got here. In 2013, I started recording conventions. So please enjoy the channel. Please like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Just click right down there. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to introduce our main speaker tonight, Mindy.
Alcoholic. Wow, look at me looking for my water. This is very big. All right, I need a drink, right? Okay. Thank you, Rustum. Thank you, Alcoholics Anonymous. Thank you, everybody that came over and was happy to see me. No, that works here. That really works well. The kindness of the people in Alcoholics Anonymous has saved me. Okay, now first of all, I'm going to jump around and something will get said, and but there's no way I can see that watch, so we're going to have to go by my watch, which hopefully I'll look at. Oh, and there's a watch here. Okay, I think we're covered. How controlling am I? All right. Let's synchronize, everybody. Let's work together. It is so important, the kindness of the people in Alcoholics Anonymous. I have no idea what I'm going to say. It doesn't matter anymore. I don't worry about these things. I really don't. Because I've been here long enough so that I know that there's enough program in me, there's enough experience and strength and hope that even if I don't mean it, it's going to come out anyway. Even if I try to screw this up, I actually will carry a message in spite of myself. So have no fear. We will work on recovery. I have to drink this whole bottle. Hold on. I like to say, if you stay sober long enough, if you're new, you probably won't die from the disease of alcoholism if you work a program, and then you will live a long life. And then you're really going to be sorry that you didn't do all the things you should have done while you were out there wrecking your body, like floss and IRA accounts and drink water. Because all of a sudden you wake up, you're like 10, 15 years sober, and you're like, man, my body is killing me. I so should have done something sooner. But, because you don't, I don't know, for me as an alcoholic, I don't think in terms of longevity. I still think I'm going to die from the disease of alcoholism. And it's like, honey, you're not dying. Doesn't look like you're dying today. You know, and that's the good news, is that if you're here, you can have a long life. If you're here, you won't die from the disease. If you try, if you don't pick up the first drink, that's it. Okay, we can go. That's it. That's all it is. Do not pick up the first drink, you won't get drunk. Do not pick up the first drink, you won't get drunk. Do not pick up the first drink, you won't get drunk. You know, then there are 5 newcomers who are going to leave here and go, I didn't hear shit, man. I don't know. The chick just repeated stuff and didn't make any sense and drank a lot of water. You know how we are. The kindness of Alcoholics Anonymous. In November 12th this year of 25 years of sobriety, I am, you know, yeah, it's great. It's amazing. And if you clap, it's for you. You know, it is. It's for you because you are Alcoholics Anonymous. And again, I go back to the kindness. It takes 1 friggin' minute for me to get out of myself and look at you and say hi. You know, I can't tell you how many times, you know, when I walk in a meeting, you don't necessarily know if I'm having a bad day or not, if I want to kill myself or not, if I want to drink or not. And you maybe say hi to me, or you maybe say, hey, come here, there's a seat here. And you touch my heart. You make me feel a little less alone. You know, and I am transformed. Okay, whatever. So what? Let's move off that, okay? It's magical what happens here, and yet it's actually really very simple. But there's a magic and a power in these rooms. Okay, I'm done with all that. Now, moving on. I'll just qualify for a few minutes just because, you know, that's what I get to do. And, you know, why I'm here is just because I haven't had a drink. in 24 years. So you actually think I have something to say. And, you know, I do, which is the program works because I haven't had a drink in 24 years. That's it. Now we can go, all right? I just gave you the two things you need to know. The program works. Don't pick up the first drink. You won't get drunk. Oh, and another thing. You know, if you actually, wow, I was thinking about this because I hate this, which is I have had to earn every bit of my recovery. Now, I don't know about you, but as an alcoholic, I didn't actually do much work. I just kind of like got you to do it and kind of charmed you out of getting me to do it, or, you know what I mean? I just never actually worked at anything and didn't even know how, didn't think I had to. You know, I'm used to taking a pill, so, you know, I'm used to doing something outside of me to fix me. I'm not used to actually doing the work. On the news today, they said this thing, and, you know, and I'm not even going to get it right because I didn't care, I didn't listen, I'm already sober, but there's some new drug that if you're staying sober can help you stay sober. And I thought, well, does that mean I don't have to work the steps? Because wouldn't that be interesting? I could actually not grow, not change, not turn into a decent human being, not deal with my spiritual condition. I could just like get sobriety and then take a pill so I could just cruise through and be sober. What's the point in that? It misses the whole frigging point. The point is I'm supposed to change. I didn't talk about my drinking yet, but anyway, I want to talk now. I want to talk now about journey. That's what this is. This is a journey. Okay, if you're an alcoholic like me, who wants to be on a journey? I don't like to travel. I don't find it interesting. I don't. I'm not a good car traveler. I'm not a good journey girl. You know, I'm just not. And this is a journey, and recently I realized it's like a very long, okay, if you don't drink and die, you get to have a road trip. And I'm not a good driver either, and I've never driven on the freeway. However, I know that sometimes when you're driving, it's really pretty. Sometimes it's ugly and industrial, and sometimes your car stops. You know, sometimes, you know, it's like that's the journey in sobriety. Is I'm on this road, and sometimes I get a patch and I'm going, oh my God, did you catch that? Is this microphone right in my face, and are you feeling disturbed by it? At all? I'm going to do this. Wow, nice, empowerment. Okay. Sobriety. Yeah, no, it's important. What I'm saying is actually important. It doesn't seem that way, as most things that are important don't. You know, like don't pick up the first drink, you won't get drunk. That does not seem important, does it? Yeah, that's actually the jumping off point. Anyway, if I don't drink, I get to have a journey, and then I get to be in the game of life. And I'm on this road trip, and sometimes I get to stop at a great place. I get to have a great meal. Sometimes the road is creepy. I'm not enjoying the journey. I'm not enjoying the vista. You know, there's shitty diners and full of disease, and and I don't feel good, and I don't want to continue on the journey, you know. And yet if I stay in the car and I stay on the road and I keep going, I'm going to hit a rainbow again. I'm going to hit a nice restaurant. Maybe a spa, you know what I mean? And I'm not talking about these things, actually. I'm just talking about life, which is no matter where you're at in your sobriety, I just want to tell you the wheel turns. You know, I used to think, I'm going to stay sober, and I'm a deal maker. I was a big deal maker almost 25 years ago. And here was the deal. Okay, God, I won't kill myself. I'll live. I'll try this thing called sobriety in order to get everything I want. And then when I get everything I want, then I'll decide if I want to keep doing this thing called sobriety. But it was such a deal. I will stop drinking, and then you give to me. And this is what the picture should look at, you know. And it doesn't really matter what deal you make. There are no deals. Here's the deal. I'll tell you the deal. The only deal, and it's not a deal. It's just a no-brainer law, cause and effect, blah, blah. So as you reap, reap as you sow, whatever, which is I don't drink, I get to have a life. And then that life gets to unfold. And the life is absolutely brilliant. It's just I can't always see that because I'm in the middle of it. I don't have the vision to see the whole picture. You know, I was thinking, I know I'm talking in images, and, you know, eventually I'll use real words and bring it back to me, but I was thinking recently about, not recently, or a while ago I had a thought, which is, you know, like, my life is a mosaic. It's these little intricate tiles that are fit together in a pattern. This kind of amazing pattern, but I don't appreciate it because I don't have all the tile pieces. So I'm looking at it and I'm going, yeah, I see a little tree and a little water thing, but what a shitty picture. I mean, it's just not nearly what I thought it would be. Or at this point, I should have more tiles. We should have a better picture. You know, and the truth is, it's a most exquisite mosaic. And also, I get to see the pieces that are there, how they connect. And without me even knowing it, a lot of times my pieces connect to your pieces. And I may not fully appreciate that either. And that's why I'm not in control of my journey. The part that I get to do is try to show up, not kill myself a day at a time, not be destructive, not hurt others, try to be a little less willful, a little less destructive, and to try to open my heart a little more. So, won't she ever shut up? Okay, so anyway, that's what it's about. And we'll go back to that in a minute. You're like, why? Okay, just a little bit of qualifying. My first major pills were chewable baby aspirins. I heard about airplane glue. I couldn't get any. I did Duco and Elmer's and LePage, and had Temple wine at 7, 8 years old. Picked up cigarettes at 8, and went about shutting down every authentic feeling I had. I just wanted to take the edge off. That's all I wanted to do. And as the edge got bigger, I had to take more of it off until I absolutely felt nothing. And in order to feel, I would play games like Are You Son of Sam? And, you know, I'd be in alleyways and, I'd try to, I just did a lot of stuff out there in New York, where I'm from, in Boston, where I played. I thought nothing of picking up men in alleyways. It just made the evening longer, that's all. It just extended the evening and made it exciting. Because I so couldn't feel the ordinary day. I so couldn't feel my life. I didn't care about myself. And that's where alcoholism took me. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It's that's eventually where you go. If you're lucky. I mean, some people just like die in a car crash or just get a wet brain right away. And I remember when I was new, I was like, how wet, man? You know, they used to try to scare me with a wet brain, and I'm like, so what does that mean? Like, if I have a wet brain, I'm not dateable? I mean, will I never get laid? I mean, these are the things I cared about. You know, can I order from a menu and have a wet brain? I mean, can I look well? Can I look well with a wet brain? Because then it was not like a big problem. It didn't, as long as I could look okay, I was game. And I should have died from the disease of alcoholism. I know so many people who did, and I was gonna die, and the only thing is I just didn't, that's all. I should have. I had all the markings of a girl who dies. You know, my skin was yellow, my eyes were bugging out of my head, my hair had that little kind of matted, crazy look. I just seemed crazy. But nice looking on some level. I gotta tell you, at detox, I'm in detox. 25 years ago, my liver is jumping out of my belly. I can barely stand. I've decided the robe is now all I will wear. You could smoke in those days, and the cigarette ashes are just, it just felt like too much of an effort to move my hand to the ashtray, and so it was just... And I'm telling you, the guys liked me in detox. Yellow skin or not. Crazy as a crazy girl could be. Out of my friggin' mind. So, but they were new too, so God knows. They weren't looking that sharp either. Anyway. Okay, I was drinking, dying. It was very exciting and not. And God, I saw this movie recently and there was a lot of using, and I left there because I am an alcoholic going, oh God. I'm not someone who hated drugs and alcohol. I loved drugs and alcohol. I loved it. It was killing me and I didn't care. I loved it. And there was this small, tiny, tiny, tiny window. And you'll find in your recovery, too, every once in a while you get a small little opening. It's so small that you really have to be so beaten down and battered. You have to be literally on the floor, bloodied and battered and so weakened and free of self-will in that moment that you actually see the tiniest opening with light, because it's so dark where you are. You see a pinhole of light, and that's the opportunity to change your behavior, your thinking, your attitudes, your old ideas, you know. And out there as I was dying from this disease, and I really was, and I won't amuse you with stories, although they're amusing, but, you know, I just don't have the energy, and I'm tired already, and there's a small little opportunity out there to have something else. And so I wound up at Roosevelt Detox 25 years ago. And I didn't want to stay. It was already a bad idea. The minute I got there, it was Friday night. I wasn't ready. It was the weekend. It was the wrong time. I changed my mind. And I was dying. People pulled a lot of strings. I didn't want them to. And I just couldn't get there. And I remember I called this woman who was trying to save my life, this therapist. I mean, she was very scary, and she was used to addicts and alcoholics. And I said, thank you so much, but I'm not going to make it tonight. I just can't. I mean, I still had drugs. I still wanted to drink more. I was already drunk. But, it just wasn't the right night. It was Friday night, and I changed my mind. And she said, if you're not there, if you don't go, I'm coming to get you. I thought, I don't want this old lady walking by my East End doorman. I lived on East End, and I had a rule, which was the nighttime guys saw every man I brought home with me and every stranger, but the daytime people, I like to keep up appearances. And I don't know if it was the light of day or whatever, and it was still kind of light out. It was 6 o'clock, but it was still kind of, and I just thought, I just didn't want the day people. The night people, I have no idea what they saw, because I don't remember myself, but I just, didn't want this old lady dragging me off to detox. So I went there, and I had a very bad attitude, and they knocked me out that night, which was wise. And I got up the next day to leave. And someone said, stay. And I didn't know it. It was a doctor who was a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. He sat on my bed, and he was kind, the way we are in AA. You have no idea, and you must have some idea of how profound it is to have someone actually say, take the time to care and say, stay, And I stayed one day, and the next day I got up to leave again. And someone else said, stay. And they kept getting me to stay, And I remember, and then I'm going to stop with all this. Go home. I remember, I fought hard. I hated the AAs. They came. They were so annoying. I despised them on sight. And I'd been to AA a little bit. I didn't much like it. It was all about, life and death, and you'll die, and don't drink. And I just thought, wow, you people are really annoying. And I just wasn't. It just seemed like the worst place in the world to be. And so I didn't like these AAs when they showed up. And they looked at us, and they said, 1 out of the 15 of you will stay sober, and the other will die from the disease of alcoholism. And we looked around. We all looked. We were wondering which one it was, as if they were going to, glow with a triangle and a circle. And we all looked around, and I promise you, no one looked at me as even a possibility. I assure you. I assure you. But I know today I'm the one. I am the one. Because I watched them all as we stayed in touch, and my new best friends, and, we stayed in touch, and one by one. And they fell away. And I remember me and this old guy, Charlie, both lived on East End Avenue, and we split a cab because we were so scared. I'd been there for 2 weeks. I wanted to leave every day. And then when it was time to leave, I only wanted to stay there forever. I mean, I was so frightened. And I kept saying, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And my friends there went off to the Smithers Rehab, but I didn't want to do that. Because I knew I had to walk by the park and not go in and cop drugs. I knew I had to walk by the bar and not go in. I knew I had to walk down a street and not be loaded. I knew that I was just for me putting it off. that these were all the hard things in every street corner, in every liquor store, every park. Everything I did in every minute of my day was about drugs and alcohol. And so me and this old guy, Charlie, split a cab, and we kept each other sober. We're like, we're going to make it, we're going to make it, we're going to make it. We were just in the cab. It's not like there was booze in the cab, but, you know, we were just pumping each other for this big thing. We're going to try. It's a, you know, I'm going to do it, and I never want to go through withdrawal again, and I could have a life. And so I get into my apartment, and I drop to my knees in my bedroom because I'm looking for drugs under the bed. Because I had no program. It didn't matter what I said. I had no actual program. That's a good point. So you actually need to have tools. And I didn't call anyone. I didn't have anyone to call. And one of the guys in detox who felt I was dateable, okay, he did. God help him. And I think I scared the shit out of him when we actually did have a date. I terrified him completely. But anyway, that was back in the day. But he knew exactly when I was getting out because he had gotten out the day before. He knew exactly what time I'd be getting home. And all of a sudden the phone rang. And his intention may have been he wanted to date me or he wanted to get to know me, but God doesn't care what your low intention is. God has a plan, a higher plan. And he called me and he said, Mindy, how are you? And I said, not good. I said, I can't make it. And he said, do you want to meet me at a meeting? And I said, I can't get there. He said, I'll come get you. And he took me to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. And there was a woman there I'd known from before, and I absolutely despised her. I mean, she was all like so intense, and I just hated her for no real reason. And but she turned around and was happy to see me. She remembered me from when I used to come in and out of AA, you know, with attitude. And she turned around and she smiled. And I trailed that woman all through New York. She had 11 months of sobriety. She saved my life. She became my sponsor. And everywhere she went, I went. And she had a passion for Alcoholics Anonymous. You know. Okay, now we're going to go somewhere else. And so the journey began. And it wasn't easy at first. I will say I was one of those alcoholics which was like, should I make spaghetti, should I slit my wrist, or go to a meeting? Everything was like, I didn't quite, you know, see the beauty and the gift. And I'm not like the surrendering. I had a very bad attitude. And it was very good. This sponsor, who's my friend today, Bonnie, you know, we're such good friends. And she says I'm her sponsor, and she's my honorary. I told her I got a new sponsor, and she's like, well, whatever, I'm still your sponsor for life. But I said, but I won't listen to you. She's like, okay, who cares? You know, she's a junkie from Queens. We don't care. But we have a good relationship, and we have, you know, that past. And she yelled at me. Now, I wouldn't let anyone yell at me today, but she yelled at me around the clock. And I guess it didn't, I was so numb, I didn't actually, it just sounded like sound. It didn't even sound loud. It just was words, and, you know, so she was perfect for me, because what she ultimately wanted was me to have life, And everyone I met in those early days wanted me to have life. And the girl that spoke that night at that meeting, her name was Debbie, and she died from the disease of alcoholism, but that night she was the speaker. And at 1.5 years of sobriety, she was dead from the disease of alcoholism. And I remember being in New York. There was a guy, Michael, and we used to sit together at meetings, and we were newcomers together, and he died from cirrhosis of the liver at 21. And that sweet, kind doctor, Dr. Tom Scanlon, who lost his job due to alcoholism and then got it back at Roosevelt Detox, and became the kind of AA member who helped thousands of alcoholics running this, you know, detox, who sat on my bed and was kind to me, and so very, very kind, was dead at 10 years of sobriety from the disease of alcoholism. You know, and when he died, I just could not believe. And so I just could not believe it. Because it could look like you're doing everything right, but inside something's not right, something's wrong. And I started to get this idea that this sobriety is like a fragile, fragile, little, beautiful gift. Fragile eggshell gift. Now, mind you, it's really strong, because I've been coating it, and coating it with special lacquers. I don't know, I made that up, but anyway. I got stuck in the imagery, the egg imagery. I didn't know where to go. I don't even eat eggs. I don't like eggs, but anyway. I mean, I left you with this fragile eggshell. Well, it's fragile, but then you've put the coats on, man. Put the polyurethane. Get the lacquer. Firm it up. But if you don't take care of it, you can lose this thing called sobriety. Okay, last thing I'm going to say, and then I want to talk about other stuff. What have I been doing? Okay. I love gambling. I love it more than life. I'm kidding. That would mean I had a problem. No, I love it because it's very stimulating, and I like the slot machines, and it's visual, and it's like being drunk, and yet I still stay sober. And, when I get to go, I gamble like a drunk. I gamble the same way I drank, with abandon and not even pausing to enjoy any moment of it. But anyway, because as I'm in one moment, I'm thinking of the next moment, or the 5 other machines I'm not playing. It's alcoholism all over again. However, I don't need Gamblers Anonymous because, I only go when I go, and it's my fun. I don't want to go to a cruise. I don't want to be out in the air. I mean, none of that interests me. Like a ski vacation, Club Med, whatever. None of that. That's all horrible for me. But what I do like is a dirty little smoky room with stimulation. Overstimulation. Anyway, I was sitting at a slot machine. I was having a vacation. Which means it can really only be 1 or 2 nights, because after that, then, then I'd have to be in Gamblers Anonymous. So I actually place a limit on it. But anyway, so I'm playing, and I'm sitting at the slot machine, and I need to get 3 red 7s. I just need to. And the reason I play slots, it's not that I can't count or play blackjack, but that shit slows me down. That makes me slow. That makes me think. I can't get as high on it. I have to, it's too grounding. It's too numbers and slow. What I do is very fast. And so anyway, so I'm playing, and I'm miserable. Because I need 3 red 7s, and I've only been playing a minute. But, but it doesn't matter. I need it because I will be happy if I have it. And even if I get the 3 red 7s, the moment of it won't even last, because I'll then be thinking I need another 3 red 7s, and it's endless with how many times I will need it in order to truly be happy. So I'm sitting there, so I'm not having a good time. And no one else is with me, so I went with people, but I was all alone, at this moment, all by myself, making myself very unhappy, throwing my money away. And I said, if you can't enjoy this, if you can't have a good time, if it's all about the 3 red 7s, stop. Stop, because supposedly this is your fun. You like to do this. This is your fun. And it's not about whether you get 3 red 7s or not. It's about being in the game. It's about being in the game. And I share that with you because that's the point in sobriety, is I do not get a guarantee of 3 red 7s, but I get to stay in the game. I get to appreciate being in the game of life. I am in the game of life, Now, life. I want to talk about life. I would like to be in a protective baggie. I would like nothing to ever harm me. I would like to connect being a good person with things then going your way, and that's not life. That's my idea. Like Mindy said, okay, God, here's the plan. And God's like, I didn't even ask you. You don't, you're not on my board of directors. You're my worker. So, okay. Here's the thing. No matter what happens, there are wonderful gifts, beautiful things that happen in sobriety. And then there's also other things that happen that don't feel so good. Again, like that road trip. Like I'm grateful I get to go somewhere. You get to go on a journey. But then sometimes there are difficult things. I will just say, I've had good moments, bad moments. The things come and go, and so my happiness better not be connected to those things that come and go. My own recovery, my own sense of okayness. Like when I was 3 years sober, I had this shit down. Then at 5, I lost it, and I became the problem. and or realized how much of the problem I was. Then maybe I amped it up a bit. Then I was spiritually intoxicated once, and then there was this, and then there was that, and then the bottom dropped, and then it's just, this is what happens. It's all like growing, changing, growing. It's like those, you remember those puppy chow things? Those puppy commercials? Okay, I don't have a dog, so again, this is going to be like the egg thing, but anyway. There's like these formative years, so you need this chow at this time, and then when you're a bigger pup, you get a different pup chow, and they keep upgrading the chow, like computers, they keep upgrading the software. Well, that's sobriety too, is I keep getting the next lesson, the next learning, and sometimes, like a very young, immature soul, I'm like, no, stop. Just give me that shiny thing over there. Because this requires work. It requires faith. It requires showing up when I don't want to. Lately, I don't like speaking at all. I kind of feel like a ball that has little air in it. I have very little air in me. And this took all of it. No, I'm kidding. But I'm giving you all my air. But because of things that have happened in my life or this time in my sobriety, I got a little, it's kind of like those balls, with just the air's kind of diminished. And that's okay. Here's the other thing. Again, the wheel. Wherever you're at, the wheel will turn. Please remember that. The wheel will turn. It has to. Let's see. 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Okay. September it'll be, and I had a bunch of surgeries in a 6-month period of time. I was on more drugs than I ever wanted to be. And the good news is, at 20 years of sobriety, which was when this happened, I was getting a lot of pressure from my Al-Anon sponsor. She shouldn't have bothered me, but anyway, she did. And felt it was very strange I didn't have an AA sponsor, because, I just didn't need one. So anyway, or felt I didn't. Anyway, I wound up getting this beautiful, wonderful woman, Kathleen, who I adore. And I'm thinking, what the heck am I going to do with her? I mean, I just thought, I like her. Okay, got the Al-Anon sponsor off my back. Now, what do I do with this sponsor? So I tried to manufacture problems to call her, like, oh, I'm going to drink. I saw a bottle. Just anything to. I was trying to develop a relationship. That's hard for us. Anyway, and I would say to her, I don't know what to call you about. I'm sorry, I don't really have anything. And she's like, fine, don't worry about it. And we're fine. And, I wanted this dramatic long-term relationship, but I'd only, we didn't have one. So, I wanted intimacy. Anyway, bottom line is about 4 or 5 months after having her, all of a sudden, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I would have 4 surgeries in a 6-month period of time. I would be put on more drugs than I'd been in my entire sobriety. And it would be a really rough time. And I said to her, Kathleen, do not let me lose my sobriety. Do not let me be one of those AA members who fall in the cracks, who get on the pain pills. I had a double mastectomy. It was going to be very painful. Most of these surgeries were painful. That was the most. I had to be on all the pain pills I was supposed to be on, But I did not want to lose my sobriety. And so I made sure that she would be on top of that with me. And I said to her, I can lose my breasts. I don't want to. I can lose my breasts, but I don't want to lose my sobriety, And I remember the day I called her and I said, and I was in tremendous pain even after the surgery. I mean, it just took a time. But anyway, but I remember I called her and I said, the doctors say, because I had decided I may as well be on pain pills for life. I mean, I no longer cared. This thing called sobriety was fading, the notion of it. It just, because that's how powerful the disease is. And I remember calling her and saying, the doctor said I could stay on pain pills for the next 8 months if I want to. Or I could alternate them with Advil. Or I could just try Advil. She said, why don't we do that? Faster than a cricket. I mean, it was so... I'm having a conversation. I'm not ready to act. I was just laying out information. I had no intentions of being into action or anything like that. I went, no, you don't understand. I'm just kind of saying there was A, B, C. She said, no, do that. Take Advil and then call me every 3 hours before you take a pain pill. And then call me every 3 hours. And let's see if you need a pain pill or not. And if you need a pain pill, I want you to take it, but call me. And because I'm sober so long, because I truly wanted sobriety back, that's all it took. And I called her every 3 hours. I took Advil all day, as much as I needed to, as much as I could stomach. And I called her. And then at night, it had been all day, I didn't have, and I still had pain, but I had something else, like I was getting my sobriety back. I wanted to come back to you. I wanted to know that I was still Mindy in AA. And I remember the first time I spoke, it was at Rodeo. And I was very frightened because I thought this thing had happened to me that had altered me. And I didn't know if I could still be Mindy. AA Mindy. And you know what? I was. And that night I called Kathleen and I went, okay, I got through the whole day. I guess I can throw them out. And she said, no, stop. Wait till the morning. Let's see if you get through the night. You know, slowed it all down, really thoughtful, really working a program on it. And then, of course, the next morning, you know, I was fine and it was over and they were thrown out and it was done. You know, and I was on, because I very much, this was like October or something, or end of October, and I was going to be having an AA birthday in November. I was going to be 21 years sober, and I wanted to be sober so I could take a cake at Roxbury and stand up there and say, I'm clean and sober. You know, I'm Mindy, I'm clean and sober, I'm here. You know. And as I was recovering from the aftermath of cancer and all that, a year and a half today, because I'm like, okay, I'm back in the game. Bam. Fine, adjusted, it's over, you know, I'm fine. There was a little emotional component that was missing, because it kind of pulled the rug out from under me and kind of threw me back. Whatever was unresolved inside me, it just kind of triggered a lot of stuff. So as I was starting to deal with, I couldn't just resume. Life affects you. I can't just be the Mindy who didn't have that experience. But I'm still Mindy. I'm just not, I want to just be that. You know how like when you're a newcomer and you come in and you're like, fuck man, I don't know who I am. I said, fuck, wow, that's totally okay though, isn't it? But that's the way I felt. I'm like, wow, I'm not like this druggy, freaky, loaded Mindy. But I'm not like this sober Bill Wilson girl either. So I just like, I couldn't find my way. So I wasn't who I was, but I wasn't where I was going. And so I started to process the aftermath. I started to get help for that, and I started to try to deal with my feelings. Then my mother died. My mother died a year and a half ago today. And it was like a double punch. I was just trying to get through one thing, and then it was like the two major things for me. And all of a sudden, breast cancer was like, what? Forget that, man. That's nothing. My mother, you know. And I'm here to tell you, you know, a lot of times you're like, okay, and then the good news is, well, there doesn't have to be like, and then she got breast cancer, and then she, I don't know, built the Sistine Chapel. I mean, it's not like a good thing has to happen. Other than life happened, she got breast cancer, and she stayed sober through that experience and continues on the road trip. You know, I don't want a positive spin. You know, some things we positive spin around here, and that's fine. Oh, one day, this will help you. Well, it might, but it doesn't mean I feel happy about having had the experience. I don't think I'm ever going to feel happy about having that experience, and I don't think I'm ever going to go, gosh, being able to share this is so much better than having my mother alive. So much better. But what I do get is an experience of life, you know, that does affect me, but does not destroy me. You know, and that's what Alcoholics Anonymous offers, an experience of life that will not destroy me. I may cry, I may need your help, and the last thing I'm going to say is, so many times you may not know, you didn't know the day my mother died, but maybe that day you just were kind to me. And maybe you touched me even though you didn't know. You didn't know when I was recovering or feeling bad or in the aftermath. At any given point, a sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous might be hurting. They maybe don't even want to talk about it. They don't have to talk about it. But just, you know, someone saying, hi, good to see you. you know, just gives that little bit of strength, you know. The last thing I'm going to say is, if I stay home, I don't get to be with you. If I stay home, I learn nothing about my recovery. If I stay home, I'm all alone. If I stay here, I'm with you, and that's where the magic happens. Thank you for my life.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think. Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst and one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.